You're mid-dream. Something impossible is happening. You're flying, or back in a childhood house that doesn't exist anymore, or having a full conversation with someone who died years ago, and in the moment, it all makes perfect sense. Then your alarm goes off. For about 10 seconds, you can still feel it, the mood, a fragment of the scene, a face. You reach for it. And it's gone. Not faded. Gone the way a name vanishes the second someone asks you to say it out loud. By the time you're brushing your teeth, you can't even remember what the dream was about, only that you had one. And here's what's strange. You didn't imagine that dream once. You'll have somewhere between 4 and 6 of them tonight, and every night for your entire life. That's nearly 75,000 dreams by the time you turn 40, and you will remember almost none of them. The reason isn't a failure of memory, it's the opposite. Your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. Let's start with how we even found this out. In 1953, a graduate student named Eugene Aserinsky was studying sleeping subjects at the University of Chicago, using a machine designed to trace eye movement. He noticed something strange in the readings. Every 90 minutes or so, a sleeper's eyes would dart back and forth rapidly, even though the eyelids stayed completely shut. At first, he assumed the machine was malfunctioning. It wasn't. Aserinsky and his supervisor, physiologist Nathaniel Kleitman, started waking subjects the moment this pattern appeared. Almost every time the person had been dreaming, in vivid specific detail. Wake someone up outside that window during the deep, still stages of sleep, and they'd usually report nothing at all, or just a vague feeling with no story attached. They had discovered REM sleep, rapid eye movement, and with it, the first solid proof that dreaming isn't random noise. It's tied to a specific repeating stage your brain enters and exits all night long, like clockwork. So why does a dream that felt so vivid vanish so completely, sometimes within seconds? The answer is in the chemistry. While you're dreaming, your brain is flooded with acetylcholine, the same neurotransmitter tied to learning and imagination, which is part of why dreams can feel so rich and detailed. But two other chemicals your waking brain relies on to actually store new memories, norepinephrine and serotonin, drop to almost nothing during REM sleep. The brainstem region that produces norepinephrine, the locus coeruleus, effectively shuts off. At the same time, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for working memory and keeping track of what's happening to you, goes quiet too. Neurobiologist Alan Hobson, who spent decades studying the sleeping brain at Harvard, described REM sleep as a state where the brain is internally wide awake, but running on an entirely different chemical setup than waking life. Memory encoding depends on the chemicals that are missing. Without them, the dream plays like a film with no recording device attached. It's vivid while it's happening. It simply never gets written down. In 2017, researchers Francesca Ciclari and Giulio Tononi at the University of Wisconsin wired subjects up with high-density EEG and woke them at random points throughout the night. They found a specific region toward the back of the brain, which they nicknamed the posterior hot zone, that activated whenever a person was dreaming, whether in REM sleep or not. But the timing of the wake-up mattered enormously. People woken within a minute or two of that activity could usually describe their dream in real detail. In the earliest sleep lab studies decades earlier, researchers found recall rates from REM awakenings ran as high as 80 to 90%, while awakenings from deep non-REM sleep produced recall closer to 10%. Your dreams aren't erased after the fact. They're actively dissolving in real time, the same way a name slips away the longer you wait to say it. Some people almost never remember a dream. Others wake up with 3 or 4 vivid ones every single morning. For a long time, scientists assumed this was just a difference in imagination, or attention, or simply caring enough to notice. Neuroscientist Perrine Ruby at the Lyon Neuroscience Research Center scanned the brains of self-described high and low dream recallers, both while they slept and while they were awake. She found that frequent recallers had significantly more spontaneous activity in a region called the temporoparietal junction, an area involved in attention and in reorienting toward unexpected sounds. High recallers also simply woke up more often during the night, brief arousals lasting only a few seconds, often too short to notice consciously. Each of those micro-awakenings is a tiny window where a dream in progress has a chance to get pulled into memory before the chemical shutdown takes over. Low recallers weren't dreaming less. Their brains were interrupting sleep less often to give any of it a chance to stick. Recall, it turns out, isn't really about dreaming more. It's about waking up, however briefly, at exactly the right moment. It wasn't always treated as something to just let go of. In ancient Greece, people traveled to temples called Asclepions and deliberately slept there in a ritual known as dream incubation, hoping the god of medicine would appear in a dream and reveal a cure. Priests were stationed nearby specifically to record what a person saw the moment they opened their eyes, because a forgotten dream was treated as a wasted diagnosis. Ancient Egyptian priests kept entire dream dictionaries for interpreting the images people brought them. Modern life doesn't assign anyone that job anymore. Nobody is standing over your bed asking what you just saw. So the dream fades uninterrupted, and we've decided that's simply normal, when for most of history, letting a dream vanish unrecorded would have looked like carelessness. There's a theory for why your brain might actually want it this way. Some sleep researchers argue that forgetting dreams protects something important: the boundary between what actually happened to you and what you only imagined. If your brain filed dream content with the same weight as real memories, you'd wake up daily with false memories tangled into your real ones. Conversations that never happened, people you never met, blended in with your actual life. Letting most dreams dissolve on waking might be less a flaw and more a filter, a way of keeping your grip on reality intact by only allowing the waking world to get stored as fact. And there's a second piece to this. You don't need to remember a dream for it to have done its job. Research on emotional memory consolidation suggests REM sleep processes the charge of your day, replaying difficult moments and stripping some of the emotional weight off them. Whether or not you ever recall the replay itself, you don't remember your immune system fighting off a cold last winter either. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It means the work wasn't for you to witness. It was for you to wake up already repaired. So the next time a dream slips out of reach seconds after you open your eyes, it isn't your brain failing to hold on. For that brief stretch while you were dreaming, it wasn't storing memories at all. It was somewhere else entirely, running on a different set of rules, in a place that was never built to last past sunrise. You didn't lose the dream. You were only ever allowed to borrow it.